Hello everyone, Namaskaram. Firstly, I have to thank the Kerala Digital University for inviting me to address this gathering. Though it is a remote address, I'm really honored to be here in presence of all of you amazing people out there. I expect and hope that the audience is more women in this program. Therefore, whatever I will be talking will be with that perspective. Second point is that whatever I am talking or whatever statistics I'm sharing sometimes could have been already addressed and shared by previous speakers. Unfortunately, since I'm not present live, I will not be sure about what has been already spoken. So in case there is an overlap, please excuse me. And it just means that this has to be spoken twice. I mean, that is why everybody's talking about it. All right, with that introduction, let me just quickly take you through a small presentation where I wish to talk about the importance of innovation for social equity and sustainability among startups, especially the role of women. So let's get started. My intro, basically, I am a founder and director of Prayana Collective Ventures in India, as well as I'm a Fulbright Fellow, a postdoctoral fellow, working at the Gendered Innovations Lab, Stanford University, California. Now, this, I thought I'll start the session because this is a women's event. I always share my transformation journey or my evolution as an entrepreneur, or rather as a woman, born in Kerala, educated in Kerala, married in Kerala, settled in Kerala, and finally reaching Silicon Valley. Of course, the journey was never easy. This is something which I have shared my story several times in the social media. I thought it will give you the perspective as well as the inspiration to dream and strive for whatever you want. Definitely it is possible. It's just a matter of working on yourself, working on your competencies, and dreaming big. So this was me in 2007, where I was jobless and I was a typical housewife. I was a housewife for a long time because nobody gave me a job. And I would say, because nobody gave me a job, I ended up becoming an entrepreneur, but not immediately, way later. In 2014, when I ventured into full-time entrepreneurship, I thought that I'm going to become a millionaire very soon, which didn't happen so far. However, I have learned and evolved as a person, impacting millions of people, and rather aiming to impact millions of women by 2030. So this journey or this transformation has been possible because of, I would say, the various challenges and barriers that I have faced. Because on one side, when somebody pulls you down, it's always, it gives some kind of a kick for me to work towards making it better. Now, this is my journey. I mean, this is my story, but this is not just my story. It is a story of millions of women across the globe. Every woman who starts up or who comes out with some kind of an idea or a business has to face several kinds of impediments and challenges. But this is despite the fact that we are 50% of the population, we still have 90% of the problems unsolved in our domain. If you look at all these statistics, this is I just downloaded from the internet. I'm sure very interesting statistics and more, I would say, painful statistics are available with regards to women in numbers. However, when it comes to solution or when it comes to bringing out problems and finding solutions, I would say what we need is to look at social equity or gender equality. Everybody talks about gender equality, but I think the foundation is social equity. Now, there is no other picture which can summarize social equity as this image, what I have again got from the internet. I'm sure you would have seen this image, but for those who have not, this is a easiest explanation what equality and equity means. People always talk about, for example, when it comes to women participation or women's things, people always say we have 33% reservation over here. Oh my God, it will look as if something big. And that itself, it's something as if you are being given something. No, it's not given something. It's the right of women. We are 50% of the population. Definitely, ideally, 50% is what we should be getting. But what's the scenario? What is the scenario? It is much, much lower, much inequitable in all domains, not just in any specific domain. So equity simply means that everyone gets the support they need, which will provide equity. If you look at the image, that concept is explained very clearly. And justice is all about removing the barriers. Social justice or gender justice, it's all about removing the barriers. And that will take a lot of time, I would say, as a society to evolve. We are still a highly patriarchal society where women do face challenges and issues with regards to every walks of life, forget entrepreneurship or innovation. However, if you ask me, now before I go into solutions, let me also give you some more statistics. Here we go. We have the Indian economy. Coming specifically to Indian economy, we can be so proud of our achievement, which is we are one of the countries with lowest female participation, workforce participation. One of the countries across the globe, we are at par with countries like Pakistan and Afghanistan. The same with the global gender gap index. India was ranked 135 out of 142 countries in 2022 for global gender gap. And it's very painful as an Indian, and especially as an Indian woman. We still have, when it comes to women entrepreneurship, the percentage is very, very poor. This data I have taken from the Startup India website, which says that 13.7% is the women's participation in startup. So, however, now there is an interesting point here. That's a second statement which says that these establishments, despite the fact that these establishments are just 13%, they employ a lot of women. Now, this is again an opportunity for us. This is again an opportunity for all women as well as the society in general, because the more women entrepreneurs, the more women entrepreneurship is supported and nurtured, the more they provide employment to. My organization and myself is a typical example. I have 100% women employees in my company. I know that if I didn't give that opportunity, probably it will be much more difficult for those women to obtain a job or to obtain that opportunity in some other organization. So when women become entrepreneurs, I'm sure they help as well as they employ more women employees. So that is why we need more women to become entrepreneurs. And look at the way society evolves. And this is a very interesting point. If you look at globally, the 7 different business industries that women engage in, most of them falls into the so-called people-oriented businesses. Okay, unlike Elon Musk, who wants to go to Mars, and some other crazy technology startups which are into NFTs and cryptos. Of course, I'm sitting in that Silicon Valley. However, I believe, or rather, women mostly would like to engage in solving social problems. And of course, NFTs, cryptos, etc. can be used for that. But the point is, we need more social entrepreneurs, and women are the best social entrepreneurs, because all of these areas are impacting the society in directly, right? Direct manners. And that's why we need more women, because women innately has that feminine nurturing quality, which will help the world become more beautiful and just. Look at environment. Now, this is again another interesting article which I read from UNFPA, which says that climate change and the impact of climate change on women is much more than the general population, because it can lead to, it leads to more gender-based violence, contribute to rise in child marriages, leads to stillbirth, worsen other maternal and neonatal outcomes, and the reproductive health, as well as limit access to contraception. So all of these are, of course, birth and health-related aspects. There are different aspects by which climate change also affects women. For example, look at this image of 2 women carrying water. Imagine one day the water in our neighborhood dries up. Who is responsible of bringing water? It's the women. And there are many case studies of villages where a girl's education is stopped only because she has to carry water to her family. We have read about them, right? And we are not talking about centuries back, we're talking about decades. So environment and sustainability is also a women's issue. despite all of that, I would like to give you now all the challenges we've spoken, but let's look at how we can convert this into an opportunity. I'm an entrepreneur, so I always look at how to come out with an opportunity or a solution for every problem that I face. So every single problem that I faced as a woman, I have converted into some kind of a business. Some of them I have listed here because these are successful. A couple of startups have totally failed, so I have not listed them here. But my most important venture, which is the Prayana Labs, which is a non-profit, which is working towards helping more women become entrepreneurs as well as employable in different domains. So why I started this, because for me as a woman, you saw my first picture. I was jobless for a long time on a maternity break, and nobody was willing to give me a job. And that's when I thought, okay, there are hundreds and thousands of women, and then I came to know it's millions of women who do not get jobs and who are not able to get the support. So that's how Prerna was launched in 2017, and it evolved to become the nurture bed of many other women startups. All of these ventures, the Pracol is an e-commerce platform through which we help rural women entrepreneurs to sell their products across India. It's a marketplace for women entrepreneurs. Those who are interested, you can also sign up with us. She Site is a digital women's magazine. Now, this is another funny, interesting story. Once upon a time, when I started my business, I contacted a few newspapers and magazines for a feature, and most of them asked money from me, and I did not have money to give at that time. I'm a social entrepreneur, and it's not for featuring me. In fact, it is for featuring some of the events that Prana was doing, and that instilled in me, okay, let's start a magazine and feature more and more women's stories. Today, She Site is a global magazine internationally. I have recently launched an office in US as well. Our editor is based in US, and we do amazing women's success stories featured here. And GoGals is a recent venture where we are trying to solve the diversity hiring problem, and we work with corporates to provide them women candidates, not just women, but also other types of candidates, which includes persons with physical disability, persons from senior citizens, and other minorities and other things. So for me, as I said, why I shared my ventures, it is not for people, as you know, people think that, oh, she's advertising. Of course, I have to talk about my business as an entrepreneur, and I have no shy about it. But secondly, most importantly, why I narrated all this example is that every challenge or every situation can become an opportunity to start up. And having an eye and a mindset towards that is the key for a successful entrepreneurship. Sometimes some ventures will fail, but it's all about moving forward. Okay. So now, why again this is important, and what are the problems? Now, specifically, I want all of you to think about women's problems. It is said that the 90% of the problems in the world are lying with the women. I mean, women's problems are unsolved. Okay, whereas 90% of the money is lying with the men. Okay, the power as well as the money is currently so masculine and masculinity focused that women's problems are ignored, and it is not at all even considered. And again, let me tell you, this is not about Kerala or India. This is a global problem. And if you look at investments and funds that is going to preventive health, especially in maternal as well as in sexual reproduction and similar areas, it is much meager than the kind of investment that goes into cancer treatment or to other general kinds of issues. So obviously, women's problems needs specific thrust, and these are all areas where women have problems. Now, to give you a quick perspective, imagine one day your maid is not coming. This is a common problem. I used to have this problem every time. So most of us keep on crying and cribbing, oh my God, my maid is not here, what to do, my life is doomed. Instead of that, if some people actually thought about how to solve that problem and think about some kind of a solution, I think that can become a startup idea, right? So that kind of a mindset is what most women have to start looking at. But beyond that, most of the startups and technology entrepreneurs, you also have to understand why gendering innovation is important. beyond solving women's problems, we also have to have women's what do you call problems, women perspective as well as gender perspective into any business, right? So that's what my lab at Stanford does. This is a QR code of the website. In case you want to learn more about what gendered innovations at Stanford does, you can definitely go ahead and use this QR code and learn more about more about the works. Uh, well, to put it in simple terms, we analyze gender, sex, intersectionality, and we help companies and innovators to look at how gender, sex, intersectionality can be incorporated, or rather has to be taken care. Okay, so I'll quickly talk about the startup ecosystems or innovation ecosystems, how we can actually increase women's participation. Because I come from Kerala, because I know Kerala ecosystem for the past many years, and because now I am in an ecosystem where these things are still talked about, despite the fact that Silicon Valley is far ahead when it comes to Kerala or similar ecosystems. Even now, when I go to certain events over here, diversity, equity, inclusion is a topic that everybody talks about. It is important, and it is very important to talk about all of this. And how do we increase participation, or rather bring in diversity in ecosystems, especially innovation ecosystems? Number one, you need to have a feminist leadership. Now, when I use the word feminist, I know some of your eyebrows are becoming very difficult. I know that, but let's accept it. I mean, feminism is not about some kind of isms that we see in Kerala, but feminism is all about gender equality. And we need leaders who understand the importance of bringing in diversity, gender equality in every organization, in every leadership. And other than that, of course, you need to have DEI processes in place. Diversity, equity, inclusion doesn't come one fine day. You have to have processes for it. Equity projects has to be launched. Capacity building has to be done. You have to eliminate barriers in due course. And of course, most importantly, you will also need more funding for all of this. Women's issues and women's problems has to be solved, and for which definitely you need to have a mindset of an economist like Kate Raworth, who is the founder of Donut Economics. She's an amazing, I would say, tangential, different kind of economist currently alive in the world, who talks about importance of equity, social as well as environmental sustainability in every aspect of economics. Forget those days when we had all the GDP and profitability and blah, blah stuff. Now it's a time about impact. What is the impact of every action of yours? It's not just limited to startup and entrepreneurship. It's about nations and countries and states. Now, what I and you can do, this is something which I always talk about. I mean, you can talk about what others did not do, but that's what we are used to it. But what we can do, you and I definitely can do a lot of things. Each of us has the power to impact and inspire the next generation at least, right? So number one, you have to develop an innovation mindset, okay? Now, for which you have to look at problems as an opportunity to be solved and to be worked on. Number two, nurture and support women leadership. Raise voices for rights and responsibilities. I said rights and responsibility. Both are equally important. You have to work towards a just, beautiful, and equitable planet. It doesn't come just by sitting there and not talking and not keeping quiet. You have to take some initiative. And I would say every woman out there is a powerhouse. Every woman sitting in this audience, in this group, each one of you have the capability to change things around you in your society and in the planet as a whole. You can get in touch with me if you're interested to learn more about my works as well as to get advice or something. Here is the QR code of my LinkedIn, and you can scan and connect with me on LinkedIn. You can also email me at connectceevee@gmail.com. Thank you once again for inviting me into this amazing, small, at the same time, very impactful gathering. And I really wish to thank Kerala Digital University for the opportunity once again, to Dr. Saji Gopinath, who has been an amazing supporter as well as early stage supporter of Prayana. I would say the first idea when Prayana was a thought process, I went and discussed with him. He is the one who said, yeah, let's do this. I mean, you should be supporting more women. This was around 5-6 years back. So from there, The evolution has been great, and I'm sure all of you can learn and evolve to become powerful, impactful, and highly potential resources of your place. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you.